Hey everyone, this is MrAddOil again, helping you fight your today for your better tomorrow. And in this video, we're going to be talking about why you should not become a self-taught developer. Reason number one, it is extremely hard. Imagine you're playing like Halo and you're putting it on like legendary mode. So that's the situation that you put yourself in when you've committed to becoming a self-taught developer. In terms of difficulty, right, if you were to scale it out, like if you went to a traditional 4-year college and got a computer science degree, that's like, I would say that's like normal mode to kind of like, what's a mode underneath normal? Kind of like easier type of path to become like a software developer, right? You invest 4 years and get a college degree in computer science. And then if you want like an intermediate challenge, then you would join a coding bootcamp. And then that, I would categorize that as an intermediate difficulty. So if you're playing a video game, it's like maybe 1 to 2 or 3 shots, you get knocked out. And finally, the hardest mode, which is being a self-taught developer, that's like putting the game on hard or like legendary mode. Here you have to kind of, you're on your own basically. Like, you are the person creating your curriculum, you are the person who is the marketer for yourself. You're creating your own resume, your LinkedIn profile, your portfolio, and then you're also your own coach. There's just everything, you just have to do everything yourself, right? You don't have a college or a coding bootcamp holding your hands. And some people like it, some people don't. Like, you get like an array of different responses from different people. Some people, usually like startup co-founders or people who themselves are self-taught, they really appreciate or respect the fact that you're a self-taught developer. Bigger corporations, bigger startups, they're like, that's kind of cute. We'll give you, an applause, but no dice. And although, like, based on survey results, right, like 2/3 of developers in the professional world, they are self-taught. But even then, you're still facing status quo where either your coworkers will be like, oh, that's not a good idea, you need a degree or at least a certificate, or your friends are like, man, how are you going to differentiate yourself amongst the sea of people who have like college degrees, master degrees, or even PhD degrees in computer science. And that's just like a dose of status quo that gets slapped in your face when you tell people, yeah, I'm a self-taught developer, or when you're trying to, in social circles, when you're talking to your friends, like, yeah, I taught myself how to code, I'm a self-taught developer, or when you're trying to apply for jobs and be like, and then if you get like a phone screen or some sort of on-site, that's the story that you have to pitch, and you have to pitch it well. Although there's been like great advancements in the form of like coding boot camps, right? They're basically the next iteration over a traditional college degree. Like within 3-6 months, even like a year of a coding boot camp, some programs are that long, you can get to from point A to B, which is become a software developer, right? So that's great that there's that type of system in place. But for people who are like dedicated to becoming a self-taught developer, there's really a lack of resource to help them. Yes, there's like great resources, free resources like Free Code Camp, Code Academy, and there's just tons of like really useful free resources on the internet to help you get the skills of becoming a self-taught developer. But there's this gap, maybe another startup, or maybe I will start a startup that kind of fills this gap, but there's this gap that exists where it's hard for a self-taught developer to get plugged into a job or a career. There isn't a medium or a platform that helps you do that. Not that I know of. I take that back. There are some sort of platforms or startups who are also trying to innovate in this gap. One of them would be Chingu, and they're basically a company that allows you to do collaborative projects. So they have 3 tiers for your skill set, right? The first tier is like if you just know basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you build a basic static website. second tier would be if you know some sort of like web development, modern frameworks like React, you build a React framework. And the third tier would be like you work with a team to build a full stack app. So this type of alternative is like really great to get you more exposure and also to kind of pitch employers that you're able to work in that type of agile engineering team environment. Another company that I've interacted with when I was in this in the stage of like applying for jobs is Hatchways. So they're kind of similar to Chingu, where first you apply, you do an assessment test, which is like building a project, and then there's like a technical interview where you do a live coding exam with one of their team members, and then based on that, they start placing you into like interview rounds or even other programs where it's like Chingu, where you build collaborative projects with other students in that cohort. And then the last round will be the interview rounds to get you either an internship or even like a full-time role. But ultimately, there's still a big lack of support for self-taught developers. Ultimately, like self-taught developers, when they hit big roadblocks in their job search or just their development, they have to resort into like these career accelerators like Chingu or like Hatchways or Alco to give them a boost to get into the door of a company. And another reason why it sucks to be a self-taught developer is it's ultimately all up to you, right? Success and failure is up to you. And it's kind of lonely. It kind of sucks, like being accountable for yourself, and you don't really have anyone to really support you, right? I mean, my last point was there's a lack of support for self-taught developers, meaning that you have to, I'm gonna go on a rant, but you have to like know how to sell yourself. You need to know how to create the right curriculum for yourself. You need to know how to make your own executive decisions on whether you should learn a given technology or pass up on a deal. You need to learn how to interview well, both behavioral and also like technical interviews where it comes to like whiteboarding and all that stuff. You need to know your computer science fundamentals, data structures, and algorithms. So you need to know a lot of things, and then you're responsible for making sure that you're proficient in all these like areas. And you have to be wise also and make decisions for yourself, being that like I'm weak in these areas, I'm strong in these areas. I need to position myself and sell myself for my strengths and hide my weaknesses. So all of that is up to you and how you position yourself when you're a self-taught developer. Ultimately, when you're a self-taught developer, it's really all up to you, and essentially you're running your own business. You're your own product, you're your own salesperson, you're your own engineer, and you just have to find someone that's willing to buy your services. And next, I want to talk about like the emotional distress that you'll be in if you're a self-taught developer. So when I started my coding bootcamp, which was basically I guess the big goal that I had when I started learning how to code in like mid 2017, right? So I finally joined a coding bootcamp beginning of January 2019. I was super stressed in that environment. Quit in 6 weeks because I knew it was not a good fit, because I was just like trying to get it done in like 3 months, where the program realistically will take you like 6 to 8 months. And then, so in this environment where you're basically your own like CEO and you're in charge of making your own decisions, it's like super stressful. There's like fear, anxiety, stress. I remember there was like many times where I broke down emotionally, and that happened a lot more when I was in the coding bootcamp stage. But episodes of those like moments of distress also happened when I was just like pure self-taught. This will come from moments when you doubt yourself, thinking like, maybe I should have went to a coding bootcamp, or maybe I should have been smarter when I was in college and got a degree in computer science instead of like a degree in philosophy or linguistics. I mean, everyone would go through them, right? Regardless of you went to like a college and got a computer science degree, or you went to a coding bootcamp, you will have these spectrums of highs, lows, and mediums, and everywhere else in between, right? But when you're a self-taught developer, it amplifies. Like the lows become very low, the highs become really high. And that's because you're kind of a me, myself, and I type of party. I mean, granted, you have like mentors and friends who check in on you, but ultimately, like, they don't care about your success. It's all up on you. And lastly, I kind of want to end all of this ranting with one more point. It's no one really understands you and understands your struggles, but you have to be positive. One, that's because everyone else wants you to be positive. Your friends, like companies that you're applying for, they all want you to put on a face that everything is all right and, you know, you're awesome and you're great, or you're excellent, right? But the reality is, like, you know, this is where imposter syndrome kicks in, where you're like, man, I've been spending a lot of time on this technology, but I'm still struggling. So only you understand your struggles, and then no one else will. Like, I would not understand your struggles. Maybe I will in a greater depth than someone who was not a self-taught developer themselves, but I won't truly understand your struggles. And what I've learned from this experience is it's okay. I mean, that's just the reality of it. You can't take that away. But what you can do is just, you know, accept it for what it is and just keep moving forward. And just know that in life, whether you're trying to pursue like a software developer career or something else, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be struggles. And when no one understands you and understands your struggles, you're in charge of understanding your struggles and making sense of it and positively moving forward. So that's all I have for this video. Hopefully this has been an encouragement. Actually, no, the whole point of this video was to deter you from becoming a self-taught developer. But if you made it to the end of this video and you still are okay with the benefits of being a self-taught developer, you can watch that in one of my videos. Over the negatives that I mentioned in this video, then kudos to you. I mean, I did it. If I can do it, you can do it too.